it's always very nice to see the budding roses. Like other meetings, we always see faces like us. It's boring. This one is really good. It's really charming.
In my meeting, you will always find, because my meetings are not complete without kids.
Good. That's always good. Even I give a small, simple lectures to the nearby schools, to the children from first grade to fifth grade.
Mhm.
I talk to them about pollution control, organic farming. I encourage, even in the schools, we encourage them to do organic farming in their places. Even small areas available, we encourage them to do. And whatever they harvest, they give it to the home for aged people or orphanages.
So I am sharing the link for Facebook Live also. If people are not able to find a space here by
Yeah.
any chance, they can go to the live.
Yeah, good evening, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you, Dr. Mahesh?
Fine, great. So you are giving sharing,
Yeah,
right?
good evening, Dr. Magesh. Good evening, Dr. Ilango.
Yeah,
You are already co-host. You can share.
Okay.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Ram.
Good evening, good evening.
Nice to see you
Yeah,
with a bright background.
yeah, I'm adjusting, but it won't come.
Okay, so I think we have to respect the time. Now we are going to start.
Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I welcome you all wholeheartedly at our India International School, Kandla, Uttar Pradesh. And this school is a very special school. This school is especially established for the underprivileged people, for the children, those who cannot afford in the normal expensive schools. Some like-minded people from Kerala, Calicut, they have volunteered themselves to provide the quality education on no fees or affordable fees or very nominal fees to these students. I would like to thank the Kibos International Health Foundation for taking such an important initiative that is the need of the hour to provide knowledge and information to the parents and the teachers and the students of our India International School, Kandla. I welcome all the directors and the managing committee members of Kibos International, and I welcome all the doctors who have spared their valuable time to enlighten the youth, and I welcome the parents, the children, and the teachers of our India International School. And also I welcome those who are attending this program from different parts of the country or from different nations. So I welcome you all to this today's important program. As it is already announced that today we are going to have a few talks, but more than these talks, what I expect is that your queries, your questions will be answered, and kindly be ready with your queries so that at the end of the program, our doctors are available to quench your thirst of knowledge about coronavirus. So today we are going to have Dr. Das, who is going to join us from Dubai, Dr. Ilango, who is joining us from South India, Dr. Mahesh, who is joining us from Mumbai, Dr. Ram, who is joining us from Singapore, Dr. Shiraz, who is joining us from Delhi, and I'm Halima Sadia, joining from New Delhi. So ladies and gentlemen, this is our schedule for today, 5 p.m. It has to be started. So my apology for starting 5 minutes late. And then 15 minutes time slot has been given to all the speakers. And at the end, we have question and answer sessions. Our doctors are available to take your questions and give you the suitable answers. This program is brought to you by Kibos International, as I already announced in the beginning. Kibos International Health Foundation is focusing on providing healthcare to the remote regions of the world, especially sub-Saharan African countries, wherein people do not have access to basic medical facilities. So these are the director and board members, and it's my special thank to the founder, Mr. Dr. Kibos, whose best wishes are with us today for this program, although he couldn't make it today. Now, this program is especially designed for the parents, students, and teachers of our India International School. Although there are other beneficiaries also in this meeting, I must thank the management of our India International School for providing us this platform where we can enlighten the people about coronavirus and how we can manage it at home. Our India Foundation is a registered non-profit organization dedicated to enhancing the lives of marginalized sections of Indian society. And we undertake wide-ranging projects and initiatives to minimize the sufferings of the poor and give them hope, purpose, and dignity. This school was established in 2014, and it has a vision that was shared by the group of people from Calicut, Kerala, from an inclusive and equitable society. The founders envisage the positive and sustainable prosperity can be achieved only through investments in education, human resource development, skill development, vocational education and training, housing, drinking water, and sanitation. So with these words, our first speaker, Dr. Das, is not available right now as he is in the emergency. And I know that for the doctors, saving the life is the most important duty, and he is doing that. So let me move to our next speaker, Dr. Ilango Murugan, and he is going to speak on precautions and remedies at home. As you all know that today we are talking about coronavirus home management. So his talk will be in the light of coronavirus management at home. So now over to you, Dr. Ilango.
Thank you, Dr. Halima. I'm sure I will do my duty and justice to the students to make things very clear by simple language and lecture. So I'll start with my presentation. I would like to share my slides here. Okay. Just please confirm whether I am clearly audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So now I will proceed with my presentation. Dear children, the parents and the teachers and the trust members, and especially Dr. Halima for giving me a wonderful opportunity to be with you. At this fine evening to make a simple presentation to you on the precautions and the remedies at home. Okay. So I will make things very simple. First of all, let me tell about a brief description about my background. I am a molecular scientist. We work on DNA, RNA, and the protein. And children, you know what is DNA and RNA? That is the main life substance which encodes for every action of the cell, the tissue, and the organ in our body. And also they determine our color, our activities, our characters. Everything is determined by the genetic factors, all residing in the DNA. In some viruses like the coronavirus, it resides in the form of RNA. The information from the DNA is translated into RNA, then protein. Then the protein, they do their job. They are the functional molecules. Hope you understand that. Okay. Now, coming to this precautions and remedies at home, this is with our experience and based on our community programs we carry out in our places. I'm going to talk about some information on this. So Dr. Halima has given a brief introduction about the foundation. We at Kibos International Health Foundation, we are registered in Canada and Kenya. Our aim is to provide the very basic healthcare in Kenya. See, India is a kind of a developing or developed country. And you know our conditions in the remote villages, still people are struggling for drinking water and the healthcare facilities, everything. But in Kenya, the situation is very bad. It is worse than our country. There are many places where the very basic healthcare, you want to have even your BP, blood pressure to check, your blood glucose. For diabetes, you know the sugar control to check in your blood. They have to walk for 1 hour, minimum 1 hour to reach a medical center to get their very, very basic test to get done. But in your place, in the villages, you don't have to walk for 1 hour. Maybe for 10-15 minutes, you will reach an advanced lab in your place. So the situation is very bad in Kenya. So we are very keen to extend the healthcare services in Kenya. So these are our projects in Kenya. We have proposed and we are working on it, like the medical camps to conduct a community healthcare, community outreach program, healthcare awareness program, immunization, and establishing a medical lab, the clinical research center, the telemedicine, blood bank, and the clinical research section. Now, coming to the coronavirus, you know, this is the structure of the coronavirus. Because you have heard people are telling it is the corona, the name is based on the shape of the virus. And you see, this is the virus molecule. The outside is the cap protein. Inside this is your nucleoprotein, and inside you have the genomic RNA. I said, no, this is RNA virus. So RNA is inside. It is protected by this structure. That's why it's called the coronoid structure. So it's called the coronavirus. And now the vaccine, you are hearing about the vaccine, Covishield, Covaxin, the Sputnik is coming, and the Pfizer and other vaccines are there. All these vaccines are targeted against generating antibody, generating the immune system to trigger our immune system. The immune system is the basic protective mechanism in our body to generate the antibodies, the part of immune system against this virus, against this structure. You should understand what is the disease. Then only you can understand what are the precautions you have to take and what are the remedies you can follow. So we call asymptomatic and symptomatic. What is asymptomatic? Symptom means you have a fever, cold, cough, the symptoms. So it's called symptomatic disease. If you are asymptomatic means you have a disease, you have virus in your body, but you don't have any of the symptoms with you. There is a silent infection in your body. So the asymptomatic state where you have a virus in your body, so the infection still stimulates the immune system in our body, but there is a fight between our immune system and the virus. And most of the cases, now why we call it as pandemic is the virus has taken an upper hand over our immune system. So many people are infected with the virus, they're hospitalized, and considerable number of patients have become victims. They have lost their life. And then the virus from the upper airway system, it enters into the body further into the lung, and then it's clinically manifest where the symptoms they appear, and there it is a mild to moderate disease. And here people generally get cured based on their immunity, how far they are protected by their immune system, how their body can produce antibody against this virus. And some very less percentage of the patients, they develop pulmonary infiltrates and it becomes a severe disease. Mostly the elderly people and people have compromised with health system. They have some diseases like asthma, the lung diseases, cardiac diseases, and the patients are vulnerable. So now let us go to this precautions. So what to keep yourself and others from COVID-19? So even you have heard the government is telling all through the media and the newspapers and from your friends and teachers, you have heard that you have to maintain 1 meter distance between yourself and others. Even in the classroom now, they insist that this distance, we call it as a social distance, has to be maintained. The reason is the virus, when from an infected person's body, if it is there in the air, it has to travel that much distance to reach the another person. So if they keep the distance, you are away from the viral infection. And you have to make, compulsorily you have to make wearing a mask as a normal part of the thing. Now, the moment you walk out of your home, you have to wear a mask. Wearing a mask means that should cover your nose, mouth, and chin completely. Don't wear a mask closing only your mouth. Your nose is open. Nose is the main source of infection. So you have to put a mask which is clearly covering your nose, mouth, and chin. And when you take it, and handling the mask is very, very important. Touching the different places where there could be a viral infection and touching with your mask, that means you are contaminating your mask. Then again, when you are wearing it, the infection in the mask will get into your nose and mouth. So wearing a mask is the primary precaution And not contaminating the mask with your hands is the secondary precaution you have to take. So you have to handle always the side of the mask. Always don't touch the center portion or the inner portion where it is exposed to your nose and mouth. So you have to be very careful in handling the mask. That's why people, they say, I have wear mask, I maintain the thing, but still I got the disease. The reason is, though you are wearing the mask, you are not cautious of keeping the mask hygiene. That is a problem. And in your hands, you have to regularly clean your hands, either with alcohol-based sanitizer, hand sanitizer, or if you don't have the sanitizer, don't worry. You have a simple soap and water in your house. Wash. Always, whenever you go out of the house and you are coming back, you see that you wash your hands and your feet with soap. Then you remove the mask in the side, then enter the house. That should be a practice for you. Understand? When you are entering the house, you have to first wash your hands, because the main source, you are not wearing any gloves to protect your hand. So there are chances. You have gone to the shop, you are touched, you bought something, you bought a vegetable, you bought some groceries to your house, or you bought, the girls have bought a hairpin, then you come home. That means you are bringing infection in your hand. So wash your hands first when you are entering the house. And when you go out of the house, till you come back to your house, avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Okay, just putting your finger on the eyes and rubbing the eyes, all that you should avoid. And as much as possible, don't remove the mask once you are out of the house. Inside the house, you are very much safe. You know, in your house, your family members, your father, mother, grandfather, your brother, sister, they're not infected. You know, the home is the safest place in the world for you. But the moment you walk out, you're going out of that protection. You have to be always very careful with that. And whenever we are sneezing, you suppose normally we get sneeze, not because of any infection, with some protrusion, some particle goes inside, we sneeze. That time you have to sneeze, not with your hands like this, with holding your hands over your nose. You have to always sneeze over your elbow, because that elbow portion is always outside of your body. The hands, you are handling it, many things, and you are touching everywhere. So when you sneeze in your hand, you are contaminating every places. But when you sneeze over your elbow, either the left hand or the right hand, you are minimizing the infection. Okay. So this is the pamphlet we distributed when I visited.
Dr. Ilango, sorry,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you. There is an option with you
Yeah.
in the more disable annotation. Please disable annotation. The children are spoiling your PPT.
Yeah. I'm just checking it. This annotate that we
Yeah.
have to I have to disable it. Is it?
Yes.
I'm just checking where is it.
Go to more, there you will find this option.
Okay. Oh,
And
okay. Yes.
I humbly request the students not to do this. This is a very bad habit, very bad manners. Otherwise, then I have to remove everyone from this meeting.
But only thing is they cannot make it on slides. They can make it only on the screen. That's okay.
Yeah.
Children are children. Okay. Okay. So this is the pamphlet, the information on the precautions and hygiene conditions. When I visited Kenya in February, we distributed among the school children and we educated them. And you know, most of the children, they heard it for the first time. And nobody informed this precautions and hygiene conditions. And we distributed the face mask And the children, they came to school without face mask that day. That evening, they went back with the face mask on their face. They are so happy. So by providing the face mask and this information, we started an awareness about this pandemic, this disease among the school children. You know, the school children, when you understand, you will follow and you will take it to your home. You will spread it to others. And children are serious in learning. Okay, how to make your environment safer is you avoid the crowded places and don't stand in the crowded places for a long time. And as much as possible, avoid meeting people outside. Don't go to any functions. I think you want to wish your friend a birthday. Forget about those birthday celebrations you had 2 years back. Till the COVID-19 is eradicated, please avoid your birthday celebrations. You are alive today, you have to be happy. You want to celebrate your next birthday, don't go to any birthday this year. Then you can celebrate your birthday next year. Why I'm telling, I'm not threatening you. The COVID infection state is going very seriously in every place. You know, in the news, you see the information which is coming per day. More than 350,000 cases are detected every day. Every day. Don't be one of those 3 lakh patients. And always you have to isolate yourself. The moment you know you have a fever and you don't have a sense of taste or smell, or you have a continuous cough, or even you have a dysentery, the loose motion, then better you isolate yourself. You tell your parents that I have some problem. I want to be in a room alone. Okay. That is the first level of precaution you have to take. If you have further problem, then you have to seek hospital admission. When? That means with the cough, the fever, you have to take normal medications. You ask someone in your home to go to the nearest doctor and get the prescription and get the drugs. Generally, azithromycin, 1040, like this, the medicines, they start immediately. If still the symptoms are there continuing and you cannot tolerate, and still you have fever and you are feeling very tired, then you have to check your oxygen levels. Below 95, you have to be very careful. Should be 98, 99 always. So if it is below 95, you have to seek hospital admission. Okay, this is the precautions I have talked. Now I will come to the remedies. Generally, I try to stick to my time. So I will finish it within another 5 minutes. So the remedies part, you know, the first level of medicine available is very, very nearer to you, very closer to you. You know about the place. You can say there is a pharmacy, there is a medical store near my house. No, no, no. The first level of medicine is available within your house, in your kitchen. Your kitchen is a first level of pharmacy, the medical store. You have in the kitchen, you have turmeric, haldi, lavang, cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, garlic, onion, all of them, they play a vital role in the precautionary and first level of remedies. And remember that whatever the remedies I'm going to present now, they are not the complete or treating remedies for the disease. Understand very clearly that these remedies are not for treating the COVID-19 disease. This is for treating your first level of symptoms to control your symptoms. Okay, not treating the disease. Treating the disease, you have the higher level of medicines prescribed by a doctor in a hospital. Okay, so this you can take when you have a cough and cold without any problem, and you know that you don't have a disease, so then you can take them. So you have a ginger honey juice. You have to take ginger, make a juice and add honey to that. That if you take, that juice has anti-inflammatory gingerols and shavagols. This is the place present in ginger, and they kill the rhinovirus. So I know rhinovirus for a common cold. Now it is very difficult to differentiate the common cold and COVID. So many people, they think that they have a common cold that end up with COVID. So if you have a cold, you take this for a day or two. But if the cold is still worsening, it's going bad, then stop taking this and reach a doctor immediately. The honey has antibacterial and antimicrobial properties. That's why in most of our Ayurvedic drugs, our Indian system of medicine, we use honey in this. Then the garlic, we use garlic in our food, isn't it? So the garlic contains a compound called allicin that has a lot of antimicrobial, antiviral property. So as you consume, don't throw garlic. If you have a garlic in your rasam, the thing, then don't throw the garlic. You have to eat the garlic. That's why your mom, to avoid you throwing the garlic from your plate, she makes a paste, garlic ginger paste, and give it to you. In the food, they make a paste so that the garlic is consumed by you. And also vitamin C plays an important role in controlling common cold and the cough, because vitamin C helps in the basic immunity. You know, the lemon, oranges, green vegetables, fruits, especially amla. It has a higher content of vitamin C. You can take amla, get amla from the market, wash it nicely, make a juice out of it. And to the juice, add a little bit honey and take it. That's a very good, the source of, rich source of vitamin C. So make it a point, at least 3 times in a week, you take amla juice every day. And having lemon juice in hot water can help reduce the phlegm. When you have cold in your throat, you have the phlegm, the lemon juice will help you in reducing the phlegm. It will release it. Okay, you see that I have phlegm, it's not coming out. So you take this juice, it will help relieving the phlegm. And also the hot soup. So when you have cold and thing, especially at this situation, always try to have hot or warm. Drink warm water. Don't drink water from the fridge. Drink warm water, a warm soup, and a warm milk with the haldi. You know the turmeric powder in your home? You take at least a quarter spoon of turmeric powder, add it to the milk, and add a pinch of pepper powder. You know why pepper powder we add? See, why I'm talking about in detail about the turmeric is, we have used the turmeric powder to prevent and treat oral cancer. And many cancers, turmeric is one of the main source for the treatment. And we have, as a scientist, we have screened with the patients. We have given this haldi to them in a capsule form. And we have found that this prevents the oral cancer and treat the first level of cancer. If the cancer is advanced, this cannot help. So with this, I have given you a brief description about the precautions you have to take and the preliminary remedies which is available in your home. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ilango. It was really very, very informative. And A few things even was very new for me as well and very helpful. So thank you
Yes.
very much for sharing. And I request you to be with us because we have the question answer sessions at the end. And
Okay, fine. Yeah.
I hope to have some questions from the students and their parents. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me invite our next very eminent speaker. Our next speaker is Dr. Mahesh Abhyankar. Dr. Mahesh Abhyankar is medical consultant and a strategy expert from Mumbai, India. And he is also an author of a very famous book. I can say that is a bestseller, Emozeal, that speaks about the emotional conditions or emotional status of the people during COVID-19. And today he is going to speak about the emotional fitness. I request Dr. Mahesh Abhyankar to kindly uh, share his thoughts with us. Dr. Mahesh.
Yeah, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your questions with you. We are going to have the question answer sessions at the end.
Is the slide visible?
Yes, yes.
It's not moving actually. Yeah, good evening to all. I think the need of the hour is Dr. Ilan has already mentioned about the physical part of COVID, but I'm going to talk about emotional fitness. And it's a very, very important aspect in the current scenario. The reason is that this is a second wave we all are facing. And we are realize that the COVID-19 is not just a medical phenomenon, but it's a crisis. And this kind of emergency we never seen during the last, I think, more than 100 years. And what is happening to our scenario in the house? There's a lot of stress, tension, right? सब लोग घबराहट में है. And ये घबराहट क्यों पैदा हो रही है? Is because there may be stress related to information, stress related to the environment around us, the stress which is related in the home because everybody is sitting at home. All the people, they are not mobile, they are school, the schools are closed, the offices are closed. There's a stress about disease because the disease is affecting more as compared to the previous wave. This wave is a tremendous effect. Because the people are getting less salaries, losing jobs, there is cut-offs, and the grief. The reason is that in our somebody close is dying, or the friend is dying, somebody is admitted in the ICU, and this is happening in the continuous manner. So obviously, all these features are going to affect our mind. So what we call it as the COVIDopathies, on one side, the people are developing mood changes, people are becoming anxious, there is some fear in the mind, entering and going out, there's a panic, some kind of frustration, and people are becoming angry because of that. All these are the mental small features which are creating and affecting. And on the other side, these all things are going to affect our daily functions. People are developing sleep disturbances or the tiredness, fatigue, body ache or headache. So that is a mind related problems and that is affecting the body. That is so all these things features are happening in the manner. But what we have to go, we have to face it. We are facing this for last 1 year, right? Oh, Nadiya chale chale re dhara, chale re tara, tujhko chalna hoga. So we have to move along with the COVID scenario. But are we going to move along with a very because how we can make a difference is that the tough situations are going to build strong people. So it is very, very important is that we are a relatively tougher position. That is the most important point. So what we have to follow? We have to follow three principles. One is that we have to recognize that there is some problem, there is some stress is happening. The second thing, mechanisms, and we have to practice these mechanisms in our day to day, so that in the next 1 year we are going to become more and more tougher. The principle for recognizing is what is called as emotional audit. So first of all, we have to look at how I am feeling. The second important is that why I am feeling this. For example, मुझे घबराहट हो रही है, तो घबराहट क्यों हो रही है? The second is that घबराहट की वजह से मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? So what are my actions? What are the actions I am doing? Are the actions which are there right or wrong? And then how I can change the response of these actions. So ये घबराहट कम करने के लिए मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा? So this is basically a principle called as emotional audit, so which is very, very critical to start with, that recognize that we have got a stress, we have got some panic, we are becoming angry, we are getting stressed out, sitting at home, and then start action.
Dr.
First
Mahesh,
and foremost,
don't mind, Dr. Mahesh, please just disable this annotation, please.
I have already disabled it, but still I think it is there even in the.
Then how they are doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Because I have already gone into videos saying remove that before the start also. It is still happening. Okay.
I can name a few students who are doing, because their names are appearing here. So I think I must remove them. 2-3 names I have already seen. So I think let me remove these students from here.
Yeah, can I start?
Yeah, please.
No problem. It's always fun actually.
Yes, for the children it is fun, but it is disturbing others.
I think one of the important issue what everybody is facing is that what kind of feeds we are giving, right?
Yeah.
So the Facebook is there, or the newspaper which we are there, or the Twitter. So these are all social media as well as print media. I think at least on 80 to 90 news we got about all the news which we are getting are they are corona filled only. So once you fill up these news inside our mind, automatically our reaction also is going to take place in the same manner. So what is important today is that filter what we watch or what we listen or what we read. So automatically our mind and thoughts will also going to become according to that. The second important point is that adding humor to life. Start smiling. I know that these situations are difficult. The children are getting bored sitting at home because they are not going to school. They are not able to play. The same thing is happening. In spite of that, if we add some humor to our, right, so start smiling. If you are liking the comedy serials or comedy movies, some funny YouTube channels are there. The books you can take a help, funny incidences, share some jokes. So I think this at least 15 minutes, 3-4 times in a day, around 1 hour will be spent on our humor. So once you add humor, automatically it's a counteraction for stress. So automatically any kind of stress is going to reduce. It's the best remedy. The second factor is that going back to our hobbies. I think there are 64 kalas which are mentioned, that everybody has got a beautiful artistic minds. Some people are good painting or music, books, plants, pets, cooking, singing. So I think there is unlimited garden walk, cycling. So I think every person has got 1 or 2 skills in hidden, and we never bring those skills into upfront. The high time that we take out 1 or 2 hobbies and start practicing it, at least giving 30-40 minutes on that hobby daily. Now daily is very, very important, because once you are engrossed in, let us say, book reading, in some music, if you are engrossed in some writing, automatically you forget what is happening outside. You forget the world of corona, and then automatically the positivity starts feeling, and that starts building the confidence from inside. So everybody should practice a hobby for at least 30 to 40 minutes a day, in whichever time, it is morning or afternoon, evening, whatever time you get. The next important aspect of reducing the stress is what is called a gratitude journal. Everybody should put up a notebook, and in that notebook, in the night, one can write, what are the challenges I faced today? Which people I want to thank today, and what is the best part of me? That is called as a gratitude journal. So automatically what happens, the all positive thoughts which are come, how I have overcome the challenge, or which are the good people around us which has helped me, and just make a note of that. This is called as a gratitude journal. Spend 5 to 10 minutes in the night to fill up this particular small notebook. The next important is for bringing positivity. I know that it is very, very difficult. I can't go out. I can't appear for the exam. Or I am getting difficulty in learning because of digital. All these things are like, I can't. But if you just reverse the process, what is called I can, focus on your strength, right? Everybody person has got a 5 to 6 good strengths, 1 or 2 good weaknesses. But whenever the crisis situation, the negatives comes out. But in the current scenario, it is very essential is that bring out the positivity inside you, whatever the positivity is there, and think that in the crisis also I will become very big. Whenever you look at all the big people, they have gone through all the crisis, and because of that only they have become big. So similarly, in everybody's life, this is a crisis situation. From the crisis also we can evolve, learn something new. Because today in the whole Google, there are millions of free courses are available. Learn something, learn some digital course, PowerPoint skills. If you want to learn some new subject, new language, anything you can do, you can learn it, because a lot of things are available currently free. Read the books. I think this is a book Dr. Halim was also mentioning about Emozill. So within 3 months, we have sold almost 3,000 copies. It's a beautiful book about how the people cope up with the current situation. It may be a housewife, it may be an IT couple, the person who has lost job, a senior citizen, struggling kids for digital education. There's a doctor who is a warrior. So all these small stories, they have gone into the shell because of the stress. They come out of the stress and they started a new positive. So it's like break, make and awake is the theme which is given for this particular book. So likewise, there are hundreds of books are available which will motivate. The next important part, I think everybody talks about is obviously meditation or yoga. We might not have start practicing some kind of a meditation, mantra or yoga, relaxation techniques, learning, because the life is there, 70 years, 60, 70 years kids have got, as well as the parents, they have got 30, 40 years. It's very important is that keeping calm for some particular period of time is going to change the whole day, which is happening, going to spend 20, 30 minutes on particular meditation. That is very critical. Most important thing is physical fitness. Dr. Ilang also talked about it. Immunity is very important. Take vitamins, additional supplementation, immunization. Whenever you get an opportunity, get the shots which are very, very important. Any vaccine will do. There is no problem about that. India will take vaccination because there are 80 crore people have to vaccinate it. They will require 2 doses, so 160 crore dose. But at least in the next 1 year, the India will be immunized. Keep away from COVID. Prevention, everybody is practicing. Masks as well as cleaning the hands and safe distance. And control of our own disease. If in the family somebody has got hypertension, diabetes, do the proper checkups. Don't miss out on medication. So automatically, if you are physically fit, then it will also affect the mind. Otherwise, if the physical weakness is there, the mind also will be affected. Away from the addiction. I am not telling for the children, but especially for the parents. Any kinds of addiction, whether it is a smoking, tobacco in any form, try to keep away. The most important in the current scenario is basically balancing, right? Especially for the parents, because the student is studying digitally, the parent is going for some work, and there is a lot of homework pending because of there is a maids are not coming. So in this particular situation, it is very important to prioritize and keep a very, very nice work and life balance. And in the difficulty, what the parents are going to face, teachers are going to face in the current scenario is occupational fitness. Because the job currently you are doing, these jobs can become redundant in the future because of the digitalization. So there is a high time that whether you are 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, and whether you are kids which are getting educated, reskill. repurpose, and recharge. That is very, very important. Develop some, adopt some new skills so that your job becomes very, very important in the current scenario also. And the last couple of points is always think that you are not alone. It's a time for collaboration and communication. You have to maintain a very good communication and collaboration with all of the friend circles or family. Anybody is sick, definitely give a call and try to help out the society in the current scenario so that for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So if you give something for the society, a good thing will also going to come back. Whenever there is a crisis situation in anybody's life, if you can't go outside, the time has come that to go inside. And that is exactly what is the beginning of what we call it as a spirituality. We may be from any religion, whether it is a Bhagavad Gita or Quran and Holy Bible. Whenever there is a crisis situation, the questions which starts coming in the mind is, one is that, am I happy? The second is that, what is life? And the third is that, who I am? And when these questions starts coming up, it is very essential is that this is basically beginning of spirituality. Now the spirituality is not the concept which should come at the age of 50. In our Marathi, there is saint called as Sant Jnaneshwar. He has written Bhagavad Gita and translated to Marathi at the age of 15 years. So it is very essential, is a point important is that the spirituality is practiced from day one and everybody is doing it. But whenever there is a crisis situation, we have to put more and more emphasis, because once the spiritual fitness is there, the emotional fitness is automatically going to come. So the new concept is that health is going to become very, very essential, right? Roti, kapda or makan. Now we are realized that sitting at home, kapda may not be of so relevance, but the roti is important. Makan is important, but the next need which is going to come is health. And in the future, from health, we are going towards wellness and happiness. You can't always control what goes outside. Outside there may be corona, the people may be having vaccination scarcity, the people may be having running for hospital to hospital, oxygen purchase. A lot of things are going to happen still 1 year. But only thing what we can change whatever we can within our circle. So you can always control what goes inside. So coming to the last pointers is, what is the important message for emotional fitness? First is achieve your physical fitness. Maintain a good immunity for next 1 year. Avoid looking at all the news from any source. Keep yourselves positive. Adopt some hobby and try to spend some time on the hobby daily. Add humor into the life. Reskill, whether you are a student, whether you are a teacher, or whether you are a parent, because the future jobs are totally different. In the night, you just write in your notebook about gratitude. Start meditations, read some motivational books, keep in touch with your friends, families, do something for the society, and have a nice spiritual time also. So there is 8+8+8. These are 24 hours. 8 hours we are working or doing schooling, 8 hours we are sleeping or taking care of our basic needs. The other 8 hours, how we utilize. So in the current crisis scenario, if you want to keep yourself emotionally fit, it is essentially that tries to spend 8 hours in all these activities. Sarvepi sukhinas santu, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashid dukkham apniyat. Be happy and healthy during this Corona time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mahesh Ambhyankarji. It was really very informative, and it has given us lots of ideas and lots of tips how to be happy during COVID time. And it was a well-researched presentation. I thank you very much for taking pain and efforts and bringing it here. Now, coming to the next speaker. Once again, I request the participant to kindly keep your questions ready with you, so that by the end of the speeches, we are going to take up the questions. Our next speaker is none other than Dr. B. Ramanathan from Singapore. So Dr. B. Ramanathan is a founder and MD of ACE International. And today he is going to speak about coronavirus disease, COVID-19 instructions for the public. So now, Dr. Ram, over to you.
Good evening, all. Thank you, Dr. Halima, for making a wonderful event. It is also very much demanded and required as of now because of the COVID second wave is hitting very huge manner, especially in India. So I am very delightful and very honored to be in front of you to talk about something what I want to mention to the public. I start with my slides. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, it's visible. Just keep it on slideshow.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Today, in front of me, very eminent speakers and very nice audience, especially the youngsters. I'm always fond of with the students who are having a lot of enthusiasm and they are having a lot of energy. And then the teachers and the other participants who are interested to learn something about our presentations today. Before me, Dr. Ilango and Dr. Mahesh had mentioned a lot of the factors, features, and other important messages which are very, very essential for you to think and adapt and making some kind of daily practice in order to control the COVID-19 spread, as well as your effective measurements will make you to fit very healthy and very stable. How to stop this? It is stopped at
Go to more and there disable annotation.
Okay. Can you remove this, the line?
Actually, you are sharing, you can only do.
So the topic of presentation is coronavirus disease, that is the COVID-19, which makes more instructions for the public. The COVID virus induced the pandemic situation, which is very much alarming all over the world, especially now it is hitting with the second wave. The virulent form is very, very infectious and it is spreading a lot among the public. So we have to take some measurements according to the guidelines provided by World Health Organization. They are making a lot of guidelines and instructions for the public how to understand about this kind of COVID-19, which is getting spreaded all over the world, and what are the activities will help them to eradicate from the spreading of this particular virus. So we need to think how to make ourselves fit to the environment, how to make the conditions we can manage among ourselves. Myself, Dr. B. Ramanathan, I am the founder and managing director of ACE International Private Limited, Singapore. So we are providing a kind of effective measures for the business management consultancy, research experimentation technique for the companies who want to make innovative product development as well as funding supports. I'm also part of with the Kibos International Health Foundation. So we are working together for the betterment of the human as well as society. So according to the National University of Singapore, they are making this National University Health System along with the National University Hospital in Singapore. They explain the COVID-19, the symptoms and the risk factors, which are very essential to consider for us. The common symptoms are more is the fever, and then next to that is the cough and the sore throat and the shortness of the breath. That is your trouble in breathing normally. So we have to consider the other ailments, muscular pain, which is very common for flu as well as other symptoms. But we have to consider this is very serious things for the COVID-19 as well. Nasal congestion, headache. Few people they are noticed with the headache and the diarrhea. So we must need to think about the severity of this particular disease when it is making the deformation for the people. 80% of the people they experience with the mild symptoms, but the condition is very deteriorate when they are having more than 5 to 7 days of period. 15% they need this kind of oxygen. Now everywhere the crisis for oxygen support from hospital and other places also. So we must need to consider more than 10%, that is 15% of the people are having this kind of severity. And there are 5% the people who are having some kind of requirement for the intensive care unit. That is very serious issue. So they need to monitor 24/7 in the intensive care units. So these kind of high risk are prominent when you are comparing with the comorbid patients. Comorbid is the chronic diseases which are aligned with the old age people, especially the heart diseases, kidney diseases, or blood vascular diseases, and so very much interesting here. There are COVID-19 positive patients are responsive for the positive things for the dengue test. So how do we able to justify for the diagnosis? There are many ways we can able to see the molecular diagnosis. COVID-19, especially the swab test, they are making the swab sample from the nose, and they want to consider this mucous sample is giving some kind of diagnosis support to find out the virus, whether it is embedded in the mucous layer. So that is the main thing. So they are collecting and they are formulating. So when there is no response, we get the answer like negative. When it is being in the sample of the swab test, and we can able to consider it is the high response for the virus. So when to use this kind of swab test or any diagnosis test is my signals when we are getting some kind of symptomatic things like fever or headache or body pain or the breathness shortage and all. We can able to consider how to make ourselves to go for these tests. The RT-PCR reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, that is the molecular diagnosis, which are making the RNA can be detected very well, and some kind of antigens which are available for this virus antigens. And when the person is having some kind of severity, they have to check their body's immune system, whether they are having correct immune response, whether the antibodies are working well and raised well. So they have to go for the antibody test. So these are all the time and as well as disease progressiveness in the patients. According to that, they have to diagnose for the selective things. What to do if you feel unwell? So when we are getting these kind of symptoms and we are feeling uncomfortable, how do we able to plan for our diagnosis? That is the main thing. Know the full range of the symptoms, whether the COVID-19 is infected. Most common symptoms are the fever, dry cough, and the tiredness. Other symptoms like they are having some kind of loss of taste or smell, or body aches or pains, headache, sore throat, nasal congestion, red eyes, diarrhea, as well as some kind of skin rashes. When we are staying at home, the self-isolation is the prior one advised by the authorities. So there are minor symptomatic people, they can able to manage at home. They can able to use the home-based medicines. That is more effective for them how to penetrate, how to manage this kind of virus penetration. That is the idea we must need to think for ourselves. If we have some kind of symptoms, definitely we need to approach with the doctors, because we must need to think about how to manage with the correct therapy methods and diagnostic possibilities. That is the very important one. So we must need to think for all these kind of things, how we can able to effectively manage the conditions as of now. There are three factors, especially we want to mention how do we able to manage and make the availability for the people, how to handle these kind of virus infections as well as the spreading in the environment. The location is very, very important. We must need to go for the airflow kind of atmosphere rather than confined space like closed rooms or any place which are not having the airflow because the atmospheric airflow can eradicate the victims which are available in the air. So the air circulation, which are very, very essential for the people to get the fresh air. So the open air spaces are more safe. And then the proximity, we need to consider the close level of other people in the crowding places. So we need to avoid, we must need to adapt with the safe distance practicing. And the time when we are living with the people, the shortness of the living condition is very, very important. If you are living for the long time, then it will prove for the virus infection. So that one we need to think and appreciate for our life, which is not getting more complicated when we are getting these kind of symptoms. So caring for the COVID-19 patient at the home stay or the resident places, the patient need to have complete isolation. That is very, very important. We must need to ensure the patients must drink enough water because the fluids can detoxify your elements from the body when it is accumulated more in the body, because that is the causative things for getting the body illness or sickness. The patient must eat very nutritious food, that is more essential for the people. And then we must need to think for accelerating the fast recovery for the patients. So they must need to have some kind of nutritious food, and we need to monitor very closely about their vital health parameters, that is temperature, oxygen levels, and other conditions. That is very, very important. So either morning or evening, we must need to closely monitor that. So what to do when we are having some kind of this kind of sickness in the household time? We must need to think these kind of measurements very, very essential. Isolate the sick person in the particular isolated environment. They should not communicate the disease to the other people. Reduce the contact with the virus. That is very, very important because it is very easily transmitted from one person to another person through these kind of body openings, especially mouth, nasal passages. So these are all the things very, very essential to consider. And you have to take the correct measurements how to avoid the sick person when you are contacting or communicating with them. And when you are having this kind of disability signs, difficulty in the breathing, or some kind of confusion whether you are having the sickness in your body or not, or having some kind of chest pain or loss of speech or mobility, then you must need to go and approach the doctor's consultation. It is necessary for getting the medical appointments, we cannot able to avoid it because the condition is very serious, means everybody cannot able to help you. So we must need to get the appointment, prior appointment with the medical physicians. You have to reduce your risk because if you are going to the clinic early, the possibility of recovery is very high. If it is getting very complicated, then the possibility of recovery or the treatment efficiency may not be very good. So we must need to think earlier diagnosis and treatment are advisable. Before you go out, you must need to sanitize your hands, isolate, and put up the mask and keep the safety distancing in the hospital or any clinic level. So these are all the important things when you are waiting in the clinical level. You must need to keep the distance, safe distance. So how to prepare if you are having some kind of risk at your home, your household people, get your contacts and the communications very quite safe, and you must need to make yourself the preparedness at home. So whether any kind of medications, the isolation facility, or other people living in the house itself, you must need to plan well, and you have to collect the necessary products, the grocery supplies and other things prior to the particular isolation time. We have to consider different kind of measurements, especially for the home care. If you are having the patients at home, the caregivers must need to take certain kind of importance for their safe practice. Wear the mask when the patient's room you want to go, and clean your hands frequently. The sanitizing will remove the virus which are getting stick with your hand and penetrate into your body. You need to disinfection your rooms and the premises frequently. That is very, very important. Monitor your own health and other parameters like temperature and oxygen level. That is also very important. You have to use separate utensils or any kind of towel or bed carpets and other things. So you have to use for the patients who are using these kind of things will not getting contaminated and will not get contaminated to spread other people in the home. How to make the healthy atmosphere in the home when you are having these kind of patients? Staying yourself very physically and active is very, very important. Eat healthy diet. The nutritional support are very, very important. So we have to think the healthy parenting. If the children are getting affected, you have to closely monitor, and you must need to provide the enough support for them. Consuming this kind of tobacco or alcohol we should avoid during this time of period, and you need to take care of your mental health. That is also very, very important. When you are staying at home, what you can do, what you cannot able to do. Those means go to the grocery store or pharmacy.
Dr.
When,
Ram,
yes,
little brief is required because we have two more speakers. They have already joined.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
agree.
Thank you
So
very
the
much.
do's and don'ts also, we must need to think how can we avoid this kind of infection when we are having in our time, and we must need to take care of our own resident place very well tidy, very clean, and very quite possible for not contaminating the places. And we must need to take care of the people who are sick also. We must need to give attention for them, frequently checking their temperature and other requirements. We need to give the attention for them, and we must need to take care of ourselves when we are attending to the patients. It is also very, very important to procure the safety measures for yourself. So when we are going to any kind of healthcare or any facility, we must need to take care of minimum safe distancing practice. Clean your hand and wear the mask. It is the must one. When the condition are getting serious, you must need to take care of yourself. Most common symptoms are the fever, cough, and the tiredness, and less common is the headache and other symptoms like sore throat, diarrhea. So you must need to aware about that. If you are caring for the children, you have to ensure all these kind of symptoms which are not getting serious in the family people. And when you are in your pregnancy time, you must need to get the advice from the doctors how to procure any kind of safety measurements as well as medicines which are very essential, or you are advisable to go for influenza vaccine kind of things. And when you are having older people in your home, it is very, very essential to keep them safe. And you should not make them to expose to the COVID-19 kind of atmospheres. Don't take them to outside as of now. And when you are having the condition to work closely to the frontlining kind of environment, you have to practice the guidelines as well as follow the measurements very seriously. So if you are having some kind of chronic health conditions, you must need to get the advice from the doctors how to protect or procure the safe conditions for yourself. How do we able to take part when fighting against with the COVID-19? As of now, it's everybody's response. We must need to consider the safety things when we are transporting outside to the environment. It is also very essential the fellow passengers, commuters are having some kind of safe uh, atmospheres to go outside to travel. So we must ensure ourselves and let them other people also in the safe and secure environment. So how do we able to manage this kind of, because every disaster is having certain kind of effective measures and management practices. the mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery. These are all the 4 important elements we need to consider for the pandemic management framework. How we can able to go with the conditions COVID-19 management as of now, the assessing the management practice, facilitate the conversations, guide to the strategies which are very, very essential to formulate. And what is the trace together? Because this is the app developed in Singapore, it is very easy for them to track the people who are getting to the particular place and leaving from the particular environment where the pandemic is getting endorsed. So the preparation and the prevention is the best effective methods. We must need to consider the clean and disinfection area, focus on the high surfaces where it is getting contaminated, wear the safety methods like wearing gloves and a mask or any kind of goggle can protect you. The COVID-19 vaccine is now practiced everywhere. I have also vaccinated for myself in Singapore. So everywhere the condition as of now, they wanted to procure the people safeguard into the vaccination program. What is the vaccine? It is the viral vector or RNA kind of substances or whole viral bodies can be used as antigen for vaccination. Either the proteins or genetics, already Dr. Ilango mentioned, he is the molecular biologist. He can also consider this kind of vaccination preparations for the research and development area. So as of now, Singapore is having this Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, and these are all currently practicing for the people to apply. And we can consider how to receive the vaccination when you are having this kind of guidelines.
Dr. Ram, I'm afraid of the timing. It's
Yeah,
already
finish. Another 3 minutes. So we have to go for the vaccine. These are all the procedures we need to adapt. And there are people who can experience some kind of side effects, but it is very common one. So we have to ignore these kind of side effects unless it is not getting more serious. And beware of the COVID-19 fake news. Already Dr. Mahesh mentioned, you must need to follow the authentic news which are giving the right aspects for you to understand and adopt. So this is the final thing I want to tell you. Stay home, stay leave. So how do you stop the coronavirus? Stay home as much as you can. Keep a safe distance among yourself. Wash your hands frequently. Cover your cough when you are having this kind of cough symptoms. And if you are sick, please going to see the doctor. We must need to salute all the corona warriors who are supporting us during this pandemic situations. Thank you for all to give your attention and listen my talk. Thank you. Over to Dr. Halima.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ram. It was really wonderful and it was really very well researched presentation. But what to do, because we don't have that much time, and that is the reason why I have interrupted. Although I didn't feel like interrupting you, it was so nice. But anyways, some other time you please share your PPT so that I can share with the students, and then we can.
No problem.
Dr.
Okay,
Shiraz,
thank you all. Thank you.
yeah. Now I request the next speakers to kindly be little brief, and so that we can finish our program on time. Children's questions are very important. They all are eagerly waiting to ask the questions. May I request Dr. Shiraz to kindly start his talk. Dr. Shiraz doesn't have any PPT, so he's going to just explain verbally. Yes, Dr. Shiraz. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. Doing fairly well.
I'm sorry. Let me just show the slide of Dr. Shiraz. It will be unfair if I'm not going to do that. Give me a second. So let me welcome Dr. Shiraz, who is a consultant psychiatrist Manas Foundation at Manas Foundation, and he is going to talk about how to ensure mental well-being during COVID-19. And this is very, very essential because I firmly believe that everything happens in the mind first and then anywhere else. So Dr. Shiraz, over to you.
To begin with, because I don't have a PowerPoint made already, I would prefer if I sit with the idea of question and answer session, certain things, but certain things before starting with the question and answer session, there are, currently in regard to the COVID-19 and the dysfunctional mental well-being in general, collectively, that everyone is experiencing, certain things are to be kept in mind. There are technically two sorts of individuals that we are seeing here. There is one individual that does not have a history of mental disorder, and then there is another individual that already has a past history of mental disorders. So people having no history of mental disorders also are currently, because it's been already more than a year now, have been held up at their homes uh, with no possibility of again joining back work or going out in any time sooner, are having difficulties coping up, in the sense that you would see people reporting sadness of mood off and on, or anxiety episodes, or feeling of loneliness, odd symptoms basically that could not be classified as mental disorders per se. So my suggestion to these category of people would be to restart the hobbies or things that they always wanted to do. We always had this idea that if we had time, we would invest ourselves into things like literature, reading, or painting, or cooking, or doing indoor exercises. So this is something now that I would say is the precise time where you can begin. And all the same time, it's a beautiful time in the sense that you can now re-establish your terms and your relationships with your family members, because now everybody is tied up at home and nobody is leaving unless and until it's really an emergency. Second class of individuals that you're seeing here is people who are already diagnosed with some illness, who are on treatment, and they're having aggravation or their severity of illness by default is increasing because they're tied up, they're locked up in their homes, they cannot go out. So these individuals need to have regular checkups, regular follow-ups with their consulting psychiatrist. There are places where they are holding free of cost therapeutic sessions. Manas is one place where I'm working. There are also other very dedicated NGOs that are doing therapeutic sessions free of cost, whether they are group therapies or individual therapies. And of course, the private or the government hospitals definitely are holding telepsychiatry or teleconferences, meaning teleconsultations. So the frequency of consultation now during this time ideally has to be increased. If a person was meeting a psychiatrist, let's say in a month's time or 2 months' time, ideally he should be now meeting his psychiatrist in a 2 weeks' time. Because the time right now is a little sensitive, and of course things are not how they are, and there is no possibility or even a slight hope that things are going to get better in a month or 2 months time, or even for that matter 6 months time. We don't know basically.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shiraz. Thank you for speaking the truth that we don't know how long it is going to take. Yes, continue, please.
Ma'am, I'm open to questions from.
Okay, so thank you. Let me just first call Dr. Das. So we'll finish with Dr. Das, and then after that, we are going to take the question answers. Yes, Dr. Das, welcome to our Corona Awareness Program. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Das. Dr. Das has joined us from Dubai, and he is cardiology consultant, interventional cardiology. Aster Hospital is a very famous hospital in Manhole, UAE. So he has just joined us right now, and I request Dr. Dash to kindly present his views. Please unmute yourself. Dr. Dash, please unmute.
In front of me, even patient is sitting, right? But then I requested him to give me 5 minutes. Then on the table, another patient is there for angioplasty. So this is my plight, and I am extremely sorry. So let me, share my slides. Can you see?
Yeah, you are co-host. Yep, you can share.
Did you find my slide?
No, I'm sorry. It's not visible.
Okay, let me check. So one participant share at a time, they say.
It's okay if you can just share your views verbally. Okay, yes, now slides are visible.
Okay, so basically, I need to tell you the home-based initiative. Although my role starts in the hospital, but then, most of the patients of COVID, we ask them to stay at home. To virus, it's a severe acute respiratory distress syndrome, and it spreads easily from person to person. I'll be very quick actually. The way of transmission is droplet. When a person sneezes or cough, it is called aerosol, and sometimes by touching somebody, that is contact, and other possible routes like fecal matter. So the symptoms may show 2 to 14 days after exposure. People are most contagious when they are the most symptomatic. However, some people may be contagious before developing symptoms. That is very important. A person may not be symptomatic, but he may be contagious. So symptoms are known to you because the commonest symptoms, as you can see, fever, cough, and shortness of breath. Other symptoms may be there, maybe any symptom in COVID. Earlier we thought it is related to lung related or respiratory related. Now you can have sore throat, stuffy nose, loss of smell, body ache, headache, diarrhea, chills, fatigue, nausea. And you name the symptoms, it is there with COVID. But most common are fever, cough, and shortness of breath. So most of the people will have mild symptoms and should recover at home and should not think of the hospital. Get medical attention when you become symptomatic or when there is persistent chest pain, new confusion, or the bluish coloration of the lips, or the oxygen saturation is coming down like below 94% persistently. So suspect case, as you know, when the person is exposed within 40 days before the onset of symptoms, as I mentioned earlier, cough, fever, and shortness of breath, that is a suspected case. And confirmed case, we do RT-PCR. So how long the virus survive outside the body, it is unknown so far, but then it may survive for several days. It is likely that it can be killed with a simple disinfectant. So it poses greater risk for severe illness when there are comorbidity, when somebody has heart problem, lung disease, diabetes, and elderly, maybe beyond 65 years. These are the people who are susceptible to the disease and they have poor prognosis. And another is cancer or tuberculosis. Some people confuse COVID with seasonal flu, but it is not true. It is more dreadful and it is more infectious. There is no definite treatment and immunity is unknown. So it is more dangerous, deaths are more. Vaccines are there, but it has just started. Still, we don't know the immunity, but most of the time treatment is supportive. There is a huge burden worldwide, 6.9% of the death, 20 to 30% hospitalized, and 5 to 10% of the ICU admissions are now COVID. And in India, it is more rampant. At least 60 to 70% of the ICU patients are COVID. So large burden on us. But mind, not all people die from COVID-19, majority don't. So patients have various sequelae, respiratory, but non-respiratory also. So it is no more a lung problem as earlier we used to think of. It affects heart in the form of heart attack, heart failure, and myocarditis, lungs in the form of lung failure, neurological in form of stroke. It can cause fatigue, and it can change your mind status, that is mental obtundation or neurocognitive. It lead to more of a clotting disorder, that is hypercoagulation, and psychiatric problem, anxiety, stress, and it can lead to kidney failure. So everything is possible with COVID. As you can see how it affects the organs. Initially it goes to the lungs, then everywhere. So I don't want to describe these things. There is a condition called post-intensive care syndrome. These type of people have severe impairment in mental, physical, and cognitive impairment, that is mind impairment, that is 70 to 80%. Even after 1 to 5 year follow-up, you can imagine the sequelae of the disease. At 2 years, 80% required further inpatient admission. So COVID goes on, it never finishes, and they need outpatient support. So it becomes chronic later on. Those who are admitted in ICU, 80% of them become chronic. ICU acquired weakness, this is another condition. Those who stay in the ICU for a prolonged time, they develop severe weakness. In fact, severe weakness is the most important symptom or sign of the COVID. So now prevention is better than cure. Each one of us has some responsibility. So as these things must have been mentioned, the most important is social distancing. We are responsible for promoting this. 6 feet distance between you and another person is of paramount importance, because general reach of the droplet from cough to sneeze is 6 feet. Vulnerable are elderly, very young, and immunocompromised, as I mentioned earlier. So as you know, the virus can live on surface for extended period. Hand washing with warm water and soap for at least 1 minute is required. Always use alcohol-based sanitizer. At least 60% should be alcohol. Don't touch your eyes, nose, mouth. Stay 6 feet away from others. Don't panic while shopping. Keep some important medicines like vitamins. These can be purchased over the counter. Painkiller, simple antibiotics, stomach remedies, electrolytes. These you can preserve at home. And most of us have deficiency of vitamin D, folate, iron, zinc. Even without COVID, we have general deficiency actually. So during COVID, these micronutrients play a very important role. Sources, as you can see, for iron, liver, Bengal gram, and for folate, fish, rajma, vitamin B12, fish, milk, egg, vitamin D3. The most important source is, outside home, that is under the sun. But cod liver oil and soybean are quite important source. For zinc, mushroom, and gingerly seed. So most commonly missed food in Indian adolescents are eggs, fish, fruits, milk. And these things are very important when somebody is infected, or for prevention as well as treatment. Nutrition plays an important role. We must consume dark green leafy vegetables, milk, fruits in enough quantity. As you can see, we have an unhealthy food consumption in India.
Dash, may I request you to kindly be brief, because
time. Corona is here to stay for some time, so it is a challenge. Convert challenge to the opportunity. So physical health leads to mental health, then social well-being. So all these things are important for good health. Eat balanced diet and stay hydrated. Drink more and more water, and balanced food in form of dark leafy vegetables. Food rich in vitamin C, D, E, protein, iron, zinc, as I mentioned earlier. More and more fruits and herbs, turmeric, garlic, green tea. So some immunity boosting like Chyawanprash, herbal tea, and golden milk. Still confused? Happiness is the best immunity. Stay fit. You need to do yoga, aerobics, dancing, stretching exercise. all whatever you can do at home, daily exposure to sunlight for 30 to 40 minutes, exercise together with family, maintain your weight. I did not emphasize on that. Weight is very important. Eat without distraction. Don't fall for cravings. Stress is a sequelae of COVID. So anxiety, stress go side by side. When we are stressed, our cortisol level increased and they impair the immunity and inflammation. Manage your negative emotions by reducing digital screen time, take break from watching, reading news, stay connected to friends and relatives over phone, follow social distancing, follow a routine, including recreation. So explore the things in form of virtual museums, Google Maps, street, cooking, gardening around the house, express yourself, creating, writing, photography, everything is important. These play important role in calming your mind, and have online parties, play games, all online at home. You can do everything, play carom, ludo, talk about their, for children, talk about their fears and concerns, listen to them, emphasize that staying home saves lives, be non-judgmental. Communication is the key. Empathize, teach your adolescents about personal safety. So I won't take your much time. So in nutshell, consume adequate wear, adequate water, optimize your diet. You must be vigilant about your weight, indulge in physical activity, daily routine to be followed. Prevention and precautions are the key. Sticking to healthy diet is important. Follow daily exercise and sleep pattern. Don't panic. Keep yourself cool. Perfect your relations with near and dears. Eat healthy. Stay home. Stay safe. Stay fit. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Das. So it was really well prepared and you have taken lots of pain to prepare it. Thank you very much. May God bless you. So ladies and gentlemen, now you all know that we have come to the end of our today's program. Only last part of the program is left. So
Madam, can I go?
thank you very much. Thank you. So nice to you have spent your valuable time. God bless you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
If there is any specific question for you, I'll get back to you afterwards. So ladies and gentlemen, since we have started the program at 5:05 and now it's around 6:40, we have just 10 to 15 minutes left. And along with us, along with the parents and the children, we have the mothers as well. So I am going to take care of the mothers. And I would request Keyboss International to permit me to speak in my mother tongue, because this is for the mothers and most of the mothers, they understand the mother tongue. तो देखिए, सबसे पहले आज मैं जो बात करूंगी वो सिर्फ वो माओं के लिए बात करूंगी, क्योंकि उनके लिए बात करना इसलिए जरूरी है कि कोविड में जिसने सबसे ज्यादा सफर किया है या सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान उठाया है वो ये माएँ हैं जो होम मेकर्स हैं। और एक होम मेकर का काम कभी भी खत्म नहीं होता है, उसका काम सिर्फ शुरू ही होता है, एंड होने का उसमें नाम नहीं होता है। वो सुबह से लेकर शाम तक काम करती रहती है और वो भी क्या है कि बगैर किसी लालच के, बगैर किसी वेजेस के, बगैर किसी मुआवजे के वो काम करती रहती है। और ये मैं अच्छी तरह समझ सकती हूँ। जो भी माएँ मेरे साथ मौजूद हैं कांदला और अवर इंडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल से या फिर और इधर उधर से जहाँ कहीं से भी लोग मेरे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, तो सभी खवातीन मेरा साथ देंगी इस बात में कि कभी भी जो माओं का काम है वो कंप्लीट नहीं होता है, जो होम मेकर्स का काम है वो हमेशा रहता है। तो कहा जाता है कि वो शेफ भी हैं, वो सीए भी हैं, वो वाइफ भी हैं, वो मदर भी हैं, वो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर भी हैं। क्या आप सब एग्री करते हैं इस बात से? अगर एग्री करते हैं तो प्लीज चैट बॉक्स में आप यस लिखिए। यस, थैंक यू वेरी मच। यस, शी इज एवरीथिंग। अब देखिए, कभी आप उनको वॉशिंग करते हुए देखेंगे, कभी आप उनको क्लीनिंग करते हुए देखेंगे, कभी आप उनको खाना पकाते हुए देखेंगे, और आजकल कोविड में तो और ज्यादा काम बढ़ गया कि वो सब्जियों को वॉश भी करती हैं। जब भी सब्जी मार्केट से आती है पहले एक सारी सब्जियों को वॉश करके फिर उसे अंदर रखा जाता है। और सितम वाला सितम ये है कि स्कूल ने इतनी ज्यादा स्कूलों की तरफ से इतना ज्यादा प्रेशर पेरेंट्स के ऊपर आ गया है कि माओं को अब टीचर भी बनना पड़ गया है। जब तक माएँ बच्चों के साथ नहीं बैठती हैं वो ऑनलाइन क्लासेस नहीं कर सकते हैं। स्पेशली व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द स्मॉल किड्स, दे आर नॉट एबल टू डू एनीथिंग विदाउट द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द मदर। फिर उन्हें माओ को न सिर्फ बच्चों की वेलबींग का ख्याल रखना पड़ता है, बल्कि उन्हें बच्चों को के खाने पीने से लेकर के उनके एंटरटेनमेंट का, उनको खुश रखने का, और जो घर में एल्डरली पीपल हैं उन एल्डरली पीपल के वेलबींग का भी ख्याल रखना पड़ता है। ये कुछ सर्वे रिपोर्ट्स हमारे पास हैं जिसमें साफ साफ ये लिखा हुआ है कि औरतें जो है वो मर्दों के मुकाबले में ज्यादा अनपेड काम करती हैं, यानी जो घर के अंदर काम करती है जिनके लिए कोई पेमेंट उनको नहीं मिलता है, वो आप देख सकते हैं रेशियो में कि यहाँ औरतों का कितना ज्यादा है बनिस्बत मर्दों के। और जो मैरिड वुमेन है वो बल्कि जो अनमैरिड वुमेन है उनसे ज्यादा बर्डन में है। जो मैरिड वुमेन है वो और ज्यादा काम करती हैं, उनके ऊपर और ज्यादा बर्डन बढ़ जाता है। और इसके बाद जो वो औरतें हैं जो कि काम नहीं करती हैं, यानी कि जो कहीं एम्प्लॉयड नहीं है, उनका बर्डन मैरिड वुमेन से भी ज्यादा है। यानी कि अगर आप काम करती हैं कहीं पे, कामकाजी महिला हैं, तो आप तो बाहर भी चली जाती हैं, थोड़ी तफरी आपकी बाहर हो जाती है, बाहर थोड़ा सा आप मूड फ्रेश करके आती हैं। लेकिन जो औरतें कामकाजी महिला हैं जो घर में रहती हैं, उन्हें तो ये भी मौका नहीं मिलता है। तो इसलिए उनकी परेशानी जो है वो और ज्यादा बढ़ जाती है। और इस लॉकडाउन के दौरान ये कहा गया है कि जो होम मेकर्स हैं उनकी परेशानी सबकी परेशानियां बढ़ी हैं, लेकिन होम मेकर्स की परेशानियां सबसे ज्यादा बढ़ी हैं। क्योंकि देखिए पहले बच्चे तो स्कूल जाते थे तो माओ को थोड़ा वक्त मिलता था कि घर में वो आराम करती थी, कम से कम बच्चा 5-6 घंटा बाहर रहता था, तो वो 5-6 घंटे उनके सुकून के होते थे। हस्बैंड बाहर जाते थे काम करने के लिए, तो 5-6 घंटे 7-8 घंटे हस्बैंड बाहर रहते थे। अब तो वो भी घर में है, कुछ बच्चे हॉस्टल में पढ़ते हैं, कुछ बच्चे बाहर पढ़ते हैं, कुछ बच्चे जॉब करते हैं बाहर, लेकिन अभी सब लॉकडाउन की वजह से सब वापस आ गए हैं। तो इस तरह से औरतों का काम और ज्यादा ही बढ़ गया है। तो उनकी ये जो परेशानी है, उनका जो काम बढ़ा है, जिसकी बना पे ना सिर्फ ये कि वो फिजिकली टायर्ड फील करती हैं, बल्कि वो मेंटली एंड इमोशनली भी डिस्टर्ब्ड फील करती हैं। दे आर अंडर स्ट्रेस एंड दे आर फीलिंग एंजाइटी। तो मैं बहुत ही ब्रीफली यहाँ पे उनको सिर्फ थोड़ा सा ये सजेशन दूंगी कि हम किस तरह से उनकी मदद कर सकते हैं एज ए फैमिली मेंबर। तो सबसे पहले तो ये है कि अपनी माओ को या जो होम मेकर्स हैं उनको आप टाइम दीजिए कि वो अपने भाई बहनों से, अपने दोस्तों से, अपने पेरेंट्स से बात कर सकें, क्योंकि ये सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रेस बस्टर होता है किसी भी होम मेकर के लिए, किसी भी औरत के लिए। जब वो अपने भाई बहनों से बात करती हैं, पेरेंट्स से अपने बात करती हैं, अपने दोस्तों से बात करती हैं, तो उन्हें काफी रिलैक्स फील होता है। तो घर में उनको इसका मौका दिया जाए, इसका टाइम दिया जाए उनको। फिर उसके बाद ये है कि घर में जितने भी लोग हैं हम सब मिलकर के एक दूसरे के प्रेजेंस के लिए थैंकफुल रहें कि अच्छा है आज मेरा बेटा मेरे साथ है, अच्छा है आज मेरी मम्मी मेरे साथ है, अच्छा है आज मेरे सिबलिंग्स मेरे साथ हैं, पता नहीं कल को हम लोग कहाँ कहाँ चले जाएंगे काम के सिलसिले में। तो इसलिए हम थैंकफुल रहें, बजाय बर्डन समझने के उनको, हम उनको एक ब्लेसिंग समझें। उसके बाद आप उनको थोड़ा सा वक्त दीजिए घर में कि वो अपने लिए फिजिकल एक्सरसाइजेस कर सकें, मेडिटेशन कर सकें और प्रेयर्स कर सकें। अगर वो वक्त पे नमाजें अदा करती हैं सुकून से, ठहर ठहर के 15-20 मिनट उसमें लगा करके, तो ये भी उनके लिए काफी मुफीद होगा, उनको जहनी सुकून देने के लिए और उनको दिमागी सुकून देने के लिए। उसके बाद फिर ये है कि जो घर के लोग हैं वो ये ना समझें कि घर में खाना पकाना या घर में सफाई करना या कपड़े धोना या बर्तन धोना या देखभाल करना, अलमीरा सेट करना, ऑर्डरलीनेस मेंटेन करना घर में सिर्फ औरत का काम है। ये नहीं सोच रहा है, सबको उसमें हाथ बटाना है। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगेगा और मैं ये जान के बहुत खुश होती हूँ जब मैं देखूं कि जब घर के मर्द हजरात किचन में बर्तन धो रहे होते हैं, जब वो झाड़ू लगा रहे होते हैं, जब वो सफाई कर रहे होते हैं। तो ये बहुत जरूरी है कि उनको इस तरह का सब मुहैया कराया जाए। अच्छा, बड़ा मसला ये आ गया है कि बच्चे 24 घंटे सर पे सवार रहते हैं, तो बहुत ही इससे इरिटेशन होती है औरतों को, उन्हें उलझन महसूस होती है कि हर वक्त जहन में कुछ ना कुछ बच्चे सवाल करते रहते हैं। कभी कुछ खाना है, कभी कुछ जरूरत है, कभी कुछ चाहिए उनको, कभी कोई प्रॉब्लम आ गई, कभी कोई बात पूछनी है। तो ऐसे में जरूरी है कि बच्चों को कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा काम दें वो जिसमें कि वो इंगेज रहें। जैसे उनकी हॉबी क्लासेस कभी कहीं लगवा दें, उनको गार्डनिंग में लगा दें, उनको और ड्राइंग पेंटिंग उनको आती है तो उसमें लगा दें। तो बच्चों को इस तरह अगर वो इंगेज रखेंगे तो माओ को भी थोड़ी फुर्सत मिलेगी कि वो अपने आप को सुकून से रख सकें और बच्चे भी अपने आप को अच्छा फील करेंगे। और बिल्कुल किसी भी सिचुएशन में एंग्जाइटी लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि ज्यादातर माएँ हमारी क्या करती हैं कि तमाम जिम्मेदारियां अपने सर पे ले लेती हैं और बाद में परेशान होती हैं और फिर कहती हैं ओहो पूरी जिंदगी गुजर गई, मुझे तो सुकून नहीं मिला, मुझे पूरी जिंदगी गुजर गई, मुझे तो खुशी नहीं मिली, पूरी जिंदगी गुजर गई, मुझे तो कोई सच्चा प्यार नहीं मिला। तो ये इस तरह का डायलॉग बोलने से फायदा नहीं है। बेहतर यही है कि हम उस चीज को जो नहीं मिला उसको तलाश करने की कोशिश करें आज के सिनेरियो में, आज के दौर में। अच्छा, कुछ माएँ क्या करती है ना, अपने को सुपर मॉम कहलाना चाहती हैं, तो वो सोचती है कि हम सारा कुछ खुद कर लेंगे, हम सफाई भी कर लेंगे, बच्चों को भी देख लेंगे, कुकिंग भी कर लेंगे, तो ये सुपर मॉम बनने की जरूरत नहीं है। वी आर ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, हमें मालूम है हमारी लिमिटेशंस है, हम जितना कर सकते हैं उतना ही करें, जो हमसे नहीं होता है हम साफ साफ कह दें घर के लोगों को, हम अपने बच्चों को बोले, अपने हस्बैंड्स को बोलें कि भाई आप भी साथ में काम कीजिए, हमसे अकेले इतना अकेले नहीं हो सकता है। उसके बाद एक मी टाइम है, ये बहुत जरूरी है। मी टाइम इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, यानी कुछ ऐसा लम्हात माँ को दीजिए, आप अपने घर में होम मेकर्स को दीजिए कि वो सिर्फ उनके लिए हो, उस टाइम पे कोई उनको डिस्टर्ब ना करे, ना तो उनके हस्बैंड्स डिस्टर्ब करें, ना उनके बच्चे डिस्टर्ब करें, ना भाई डिस्टर्ब करें, ना फादर डिस्टर्ब करें, चाहे वो 15 मिनट का टाइम हो, चाहे वो आधे घंटे का टाइम हो, लेकिन वो मी टाइम उनका ऐसा हो जिसमें वो रिलैक्स करें अपने आप को, और बिल्कुल अपने आप को सिर्फ अपने ही साथ रहे, कोई उनके साथ ना रहे, वो किसी भी उलझन में ना रहे, पीसफुली वो अपने आप में अकेले वो उस टाइम को एंजॉय करें। दिस मी टाइम इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द मदर्स। उस मी टाइम में उनकी मर्जी है, चाहे वो रिलैक्स करें, मेडिटेशन करें, योगा करें, एक्सरसाइज करें, नमाज पढ़ें, कुरान पढ़ें, दूसरी रिलीजियस बुक्स पढ़ें, गाने सुने, म्यूजिक सुने, जो करना चाहती हैं, जिसमें उनको अच्छा लगता है वो उस मी टाइम में कर सकती हैं। और लास्टली मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि हमें खुदा में फेथ रखना है, क्योंकि जो कुछ भी होता है इस दुनिया में वो खुदा की मर्जी से होता है। ये कोरोना अपने आप से नहीं आया है, अगर खुदा की मर्जी ना हो तो। अगर कोई इंसान मरता है कोरोना से तो वो भी उसी की मर्जी होती है, कोई इंसान जिंदा बच के आता है तो भी उसकी मर्जी होती है। सो वी हैव टू हैव फेथ इन ऑलमाइटी, क्योंकि उसकी मर्जी के बगैर इवन नॉट अ सिंगल लीफ ड्रॉप्स फ्रॉम द ट्री। तो अगर एक पत्ता भी अपनी मर्जी से अगर नहीं हिलता है तो फिर इंसानी जान तो बहुत ही बड़ी चीज हुई, वो अपनी मर्जी से कैसे चली जाएगी जब तक कि वो नहीं चाहेगा। सो वी हैव टू हैव फेथ इन गॉड, और हम अपने सारे प्रिकॉशंस के साथ साथ खुदा पे भरोसा रखें और उसका दामन कभी ना छोड़ें। मेरी दुआएं आप सबके साथ हैं कि may Almighty always protect you and your family from the pandemic. And I hope that after my this small presentation, the ladies in the house are going to get their value, to get their worth, and they are going to get their me time. That is the most important thing. Thank you very much, everyone. So now we are going to have the question answers, because this was the last presentation that I have already spoken from the heart for my ladies, for my women. And I just wanted to speak for them quite long. So today I got the opportunity. Let me highlight all the doctors so that the questions can be asked. And Dr. Mahesh, are you here? So please join us. We have Dr. Ambrose also here, the founder of Kibos. Dr. Ilango, are you here?
Yes, very much. I am available.
You are available. Okay, so please join us. Dr. Mahesh has left, or is he there? जिन बच्चों को क्वेश्चंस पूछना है, those who wants to ask the questions, please raise your hand so that we will give you the opportunity to ask the questions. Dr. Mahesh, are you there? Okay, anyways, now children, I can see many hands are up. Yes, Azmat, unmute yourself and ask your question.
I want to ask one question. Can
Yes.
someone who in fact spread coronavirus if they don't have symptoms?
Okay, if they don't have the symptoms, can they be infected with coronavirus? Who is going to answer this question? Dr. Ilango, will you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, can you treat the patient if the coronavirus is absent? Is it correct?
No, the question is that if the symptoms is not there, can the person be infected with coronavirus? If the
Yes.
person is not,
Yes.
symptoms are not visible.
Yeah, that's what we mentioned about
Mhm.
asymptomatic and symptomatic. That is with corona symptoms and without corona symptoms. So there are people even in your family, next to you, or in the community, there are people with coronavirus but without any symptoms. This is called silent infection. So that's why we say, why we are talking about the social distancing, even among your friends. You know your friend, but while playing with your friend, always wear a face mask. The reason is you do not know who is having infection or not. It is very difficult to say. Clear?
Yes, thank you.
So there are people without symptoms, but they have infection.
Sir, thanks.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, Arshi Jahan, please unmute yourself and ask the questions.
Good evening to everyone. Well, I'm not Arshi Jahan, his brother, elder brother. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Amir Ahmed, and my question from the respected speaker is that if someone has suffered from coronavirus and his body itself fully recovered from it, then after that, is it necessary to take the vaccine?
Can I answer that question?
Yes, so you can, you sure.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. It's a very, very intelligent and a beautiful question. This is not like the previous measles or other infections. For our country developed a vaccine and we have completely eradicated the disease. Okay. This disease, this virus is getting mutated. That means it is changing its own nature. So in a population, there are different types of viruses are there. There's not like only one type. Okay. So when you have a vaccine or your person got infection and got cured, so the antibodies will be against the particular virus. Okay. For other virus, the same, we call corona, but there are different types. So you don't have antibody for the other type. So that's why you have to always follow the precautions and the hygienic conditions until the corona is completely eradicated from our community, from your place and the country. So one cannot be sure that because I got vaccine, I got infected and cured, I am protected. No, there are variants of the virus. So there are, you know, in our circle, there are doctors who got the infection, cured, then they have taken the vaccine, both the doses, first dose and second dose. Then again, they got infection and got cured. So they have got 2-time infection. In between, they have taken a vaccine. So there is no guarantee that they will not get corona again. So this is a very, very severe condition. That's why this program itself, we are organized to insist the need for following the precautionary measures and hygienic conditions because of the severity of the disease. So you students should understand and follow the norms very strictly from today onwards. Okay, be at home and be safe.
Thank you very much. I think you got your answer. Now, Aliza, please ask the question. I think Aliza, yes, Aliza, unmute and ask.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Aliza Sefi from class 7th. I'm asking you some questions.
Yes, please.
What should we do if any person symptoms of coronavirus?
Will you please repeat?
What should we do if any person symptoms of coronavirus?
If any person has symptoms of coronavirus, what should one do?
Okay. The first thing the person has to do is isolation. The moment you know you have symptoms and you feel that you have the infection, you have to avoid contact with others. So you have to protect others from getting infection from you. That is the first and foremost thing. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect others. So isolation is important. Then try to reach a doctor and try to get the first line drugs. that you have to take it. Start taking it. Home quarantine. It's called home quarantine. In a room, you have to get isolated. You have to be alone. Clear? Then you have to take the drug. Then if you feel and monitor the oxygen level. And still if you have the problem, then you have to go to the hospital for medical advice. But the first and foremost requirement is isolation. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Now, Jaish Ahmed, please ask your questions. Jaish Ahmed. Jaish Ahmed, unmute yourself, please.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I have a question. What are the major symptoms of COVID-19?
Okay. The major symptoms are, first thing is cough. You have irritation in your throat, you have a cough, and you have a cold. Some people, they get fever and the body pain. Okay, that is the first level of symptoms. Then you have always an irritation in your nose and throat, because that is where the infection first getting established. Okay, then it spreads to lung. When it goes to lung, you have a uneasiness. You have difficulty in breathing. So your oxygen level will go down. So first level of symptoms is cold, cough, continuously coughing and sneezing, and the body pain and fever. These are the primary symptoms.
Thank you very much. Now, who is the next? Zainab Chaudhary. Yes, what is your question?
Good evening to all of you. I am Zainab. I want to ask one question. Sir, what are the healthy food to increase immunity power?
Haldi. Is it?
Haldi, turmeric.
Yeah. So what is the question again? Say it again.
What are the healthy food to increase immunity power?
No.
A healthy food
Antimicrobial power, is it?
to increase the immunity system. What are the healthy foods?
Okay. To increase the immune system, first of all, you have to have a good vitamin source, especially vitamin C. Then you have to take other natural products like garlic, ginger, and turmeric. And turmeric has multi-number of benefits. It has an antimicrobial, antibacterial effect. It triggers your immune system. It is called the immunomodulator. It modifies your immune system. It increases your immune system so that your immune can fight against the disease. Even in cancer conditions, we give curcumin that is extracted from turmeric to sensitize the cancer cells so that the cancer cells will take more radiation and get killed. So even sensitizing the cancer cell, we use curcumin. So curcumin has a lot of beneficial medical benefits, which is present in turmeric. But you may ask, we are using turmeric every day at home. In our sambar, rasam, and all dishes you add turmeric, isn't it? Then why you are not getting the benefit? And you know that is called bioavailability. Whatever the drug you take, there should be a sufficient amount of that medicine. Any medicine you take, it should be sufficient amount of medicine should be available in your body. But the amount of turmeric what you add in your food, that is not a sufficient amount to treat the disease, to act against the infection, or even to stimulate appropriate amount of immune system. That's why you have to take additional amount of turmeric. You know, for the cancer patients, we have given 3 grams of turmeric, the curcumin alone. That means that is almost equivalent to 300 grams of turmeric. Okay. So can you eat that much amount of turmeric? No, you cannot. So that's why we say you take the turmeric powder in warm milk with pepper. Pepper will help the uptake of turmeric by our body. That's why you add pepper to that. Okay, that will help you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Dr. Kiraz and Dr. Mahesh, the people are not really aware of the emotional and mental health. You know, people think always that physical suffering is the only suffering, and they don't consider their mental anxiety or stress or maybe emotional weaknesses as illness or as disease. So I think if you can just throw some light on that how a person feels that he is not mentally fit or he is not emotionally stable or not healthy. Because all the whatever questions they have all asked about the physical health only, isn't it?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Mahesh, first you will take, or Dr. Shiraz first you will take?
Let Dr. Shiraz.
Okay, Dr. Shiraz.
Ma'am, certain things as far as mental health or mental well-being is concerned are to be taken into consideration. Basically, first thing first is your relationship with yourself. That is most important. And then, of course, your relationship with your environment. Your relationship with yourself basically has notions like your self-identity, how you identify yourself, or your notions of esteem, there is also something that is also called as ideal identity. You imagine that you could be this, that ideal, but that is just pure figment of your imagination. So most important thing for anybody to figure out for himself is, does he have a good relationship with himself? Usually people, they might look okay from the outside, but internally they all have, they have ideas of hopelessness, or worthlessness or helplessness. Their mood is usually sad off and on. People also tend to have complaints of decreased energy. People tend to have complaints of poor attention and concentration. So what happens here basically for anyone to understand is, if a person can identify himself as being okay with whatever he is, and more importantly, he is also in sync with his environment, in the fact that his other relationships, family, occupation, interpersonal relationships, all these things, if they are in sync, and he can have some sense of balance between himself and his environment, I think that would be called as good mental health, or good mental well-being. So it's basically a combination of your relationship with yourself and your relationship with your environment.
Thank you very much. Now Dr. Mahesh.
Yeah, I think adding to Dr. Shiraz's points, now currently what we are seeing is that the people are getting, one of the very important issues is fear. The fear about getting COVID, fear about getting family affected, even fear about going out of the house, right? And there are a lot of people taking over precautions also, right? Definitely the COVID is there, there's no doubt about that. But indirectly they don't realize that they are taking over precautions. So that itself indicates there is some change in the mindset. The second important point is the helplessness. That is very important, is that the people are feeling helpless. And by thinking that what will happen if the admission comes, what will happen if the oxygen, can I get my immunization? There is a rush for immunization unnecessary. The people are coming out whenever the lockdown is open. They are coming out that like anything. So at the back of the mind, there is a lot of thought process which is actually negative, which is happening, but it doesn't come up, and it remains inside the mind. And physical symptoms, what we call it as psychosomatic. People start getting headache. They are not able to sleep properly. They are awakening in the morning, later on not able to sleep. Their performance is affected. So that indicates that there is a on the mindset. There is a the mind is not well. So it is very essential is that the superficial whatever things are happening, you have to look at whether it is related to the mind or it is just related to. If the somebody is not getting sleep, one has to realize that why he is not getting sleep. So is it because of the really sleep problem, or is it because of the fear, or is it because of anxiety? After looking at the news for 15 minutes, the people are becoming panic. They started sweating as the. So that means the news are affecting the person and indirectly affecting mind. So it is very essential in the current scenario. We have done a survey of 3,000 people who are working across India, and what we found out is that at least 30-40% people have got a lot of stress and required counseling so that they come up positively towards the life. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now OS is here with a question. Yes, OS. What is your question, please? Yes, OS. What's your question, please? OS, क्या पूछना है आपको बेटा? OS?
I am Wish.
Yeah, what is your question?
My question is, what is social distancing?
What is social distancing? Okay. Yes, Dr. Ram, you are in Singapore and you know the most.
Yeah, actually, social distancing is between the two persons, at least you have to maintain 1 meter. Now they are increasing more than 1 meter because of the virus, which is having more infectious in its virulent form. Minimum is 1 meter distance between the two persons who can able to be very close to the place. So that is the safety distance, social safety, social distancing for the people to adapt. So we have to think whether we are getting exposed to the virus closely to the another person, we can avoid, because the virus cannot, the droplets from the mouth or any other fluids cannot able to spray out more than a meter to touch to the another person. That's why they are mentioning the social distancing, at least minimum 1 meter between the two persons.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Ram.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Sometimes I feel that these children are so innocent because they are in a small town. So there is still the fear of corona is not that much high as.
That's why my slides I wanted to copy from the posters which are already published in the WHO, World Health Organization. It is more easy because it is the cartoon pictures, so children also can easily follow. It's a very small instructions. Maybe later I send the video so you can also share to them.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Now, Insha Khan, what's your question? Please ask your question. Insha Khan. Sidrat Chaudhary is also ready with the question. Yes, Sidrat Chaudhary.
Ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sidra. I want to ask one question. COVID-19 affects which part of the human body?
Yeah, I think COVID-19 is basically a respiratory tract. So if you see the mouth and inside the mouth, you may be knowing pharynx, and down the line there is lungs. So normally it will affect the respiratory tract system. But obviously once it goes into the respiratory tract, when the body reacts to that virus, the body releases a lot of mediators, and these mediators are released in the blood. So automatically, if you see later on, once the disease progresses From the respiratory tract, the other parts of the body, maybe kidney is there, it can get affected, the blood pressure can get affected. So initially, the system which is more affected is the respiratory tract, but if the patient, once he becomes serious or he gets admitted, hospitalized, at that time, it is very critical that all the different parts of the body can be involved, because the body's reaction is much stronger to tackle the virus. So virus attacks which is there, the body, WBCs, the white blood cells, they are active and they attack the virus. And during that process, there is a battle between the virus and our cells. During that process, the other organs may also get affected. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think now it's time to wind up. And my dear students, if you have any further questions, our doctors are available. They are in touch. We can forward your questions to them. And it's better if you can go through the videos once again, because all these aspects, whatever you have asked, was fully covered by the doctors in their presentations. Even Dr. Ilango has taken so many points. Dr. Rams was the wonderful presentation from WHO. A few slides were taken from there. And then Dr. Mahesh, the presentation on emotional stability and emotional well-being was perfect. And then Dr. Das' presentation was also having lots of medicinal value in it. So I think all the presentations were wonderful. Maybe since we are in the Zoom, we are not very attentive due to sometimes technical issues, sometimes the voice problems, sometimes some other problems. So later on, you can go through the video and please listen carefully, watch carefully, and then whatever we have advised today, try to follow in your day-to-day life, because knowledge is the first step towards curing any disease or any illness. So I thank you very much.
By any chance, do you have the results from the survey?
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for reminding me. I'll share the result of the survey in a while. And I was happy, and I'm very much thankful to the parents, because it's prayer time here, so that's why I'm trying to wind up quickly. But anyway, 2 minutes time I'll take. Is my screen visible to all? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was taken, the survey was taken by 80 people. And in the question number 1, how many countries, areas or territories are suffering from coronavirus? So here the question was more than 200 countries, that green one, 38 people have given the correct answer. In question number 2, coronavirus kya hai? Here the first question was the correct answer, and we can see 55 people have given the correct answer. Then how does coronavirus transmit? Question number 3. Question number 3, the answer was D, all of above. So this is given by 35% people. Now, what happened to a person suffering from COVID? This is question number 5. The answer was C. And here we can see that 31% people have given the correct answer. In which group of COVID-19 is in which age group? So here the correct answer was C, and we can see 23 people have given the correct answer. Now in the next question, the first case of coronavirus, the answer was Wuhan, and we can see that 60% people have given the correct answer to this question. Now the next question was question number 8. The answer is D. Which of the following diseases are related to coronavirus? So here the question answer was SARS-CoV-2, and this is answered by 32% people correctly. Then mild symptoms of novel coronavirus are, so here the answer was all of the above, and 63% people have given the correct answer. Now in this question, what are the precautions? So cover your nose and mouth. 80% people, this is 80 or 60? 60% people have given the correct answer. So, Dr. Ilango, you want me to?
No. Just generally, the observation is there is a clear-cut awareness among them, but in some areas there is a confusion.
Yeah.
So now, if you do the survey again, the results will change. Even what are the gap that will be filled in.
Sure, I'll send the survey once again so that we can see.
Yeah, that's all. So
Yeah, thank you very much for the suggestion.
yeah.
So my dear students, parents and teachers, we will be sending you this survey once again so that you can take up, and now you see that what is the enhancement in your knowledge about coronavirus. I would like to extend my thanks to Dr. Mahesh, to Dr. Ram, to Dr. Ilango, to Dr. Ambrose is also here, and to Dr. Dash, who has just left us, and Dr. Shiraz. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. And my special thanks to Kibos International Health Foundation, and my thanks to our India International School. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
May Almighty bless you always.
Always thanks to Dr. Halim for an exciting and
Please unmute and speak. Yeah.
No, sir.
also, that is very important because enthusiasm always.
So the live we can stop now.